Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Golden Bachelorette suitor admits he's falling for Joan Vassos. Some Golden Bachelorette men bear all this week in a striptease, but one man bares his heart and admits he's falling for Joan Vassos. With the show heating up, this admission adds a whole new level of romance and tension. Keep reading for all the details. The next Golden Bachelorette is going to be a roller coaster until any other. Joan Vassos takes some of her men on a date where they strip down after learning some moves from the famous Chippendale dancers. Caitlin Bristow makes an appearance for the tawdry date that's actually for a really good cause that's close to Joan's heart. Suitor Chop Chapel is another thing close to Joan Vassos' heart. The previews heavily tease that he leaves the show for a family emergency, like Joan did during Jerry Turner's season. But will he return to the show later in the season? Click here to find out all the details on Chuck's unexpected exit. While Joan Vassos shares a heartbreaking goodbye to Chuck, another suitor confesses that he's starting to fall for her. Mark Anderson wowed viewers during his brief appearance on Joey Graziadei's season of The Bachelor. He made his TV debut during Kelsey Anderson's hometown date. Now he's about to be Joey's father-in-law. Mark Anderson can relate to Joan Vassos in a way that not all of the suitors can. Like Joan, Mark lost his spouse of many years to cancer. Joan's husband died of pancreatic cancer in 2021. Mark and Kelsey lost Kelsey's mom to breast cancer in 2018. He's finally ready to find love again, and with his daughter's encouragement, he joined the Golden Bachelorette to woo Joan. Mark is part of the Chippendale date, but he also bares his heart during a phone call with Kelsey. 6 ABC Philadelphia shared an exclusive clip of the check-in. "I'm telling you, this has been the best time in the last 6.5 years." Mark said to his daughter about his experience in the Bachelor mansion so far. He gushed over Joan. "When I'm with Joan, I feel great. She's so there with each conversation, and she just remembers so much." Kelsey Anderson encouraged her dad to enjoy his time on the reality TV show. "I'm just so happy for you, Dad, and I hope that you continue to make the most of this experience, and I hope I see you soon at hometowns." It remains to be seen just how far Mark Anderson makes it on the Golden Bachelorette. Watch the episode on Wednesday, October 9, at 8 p.m. Eastern on ABC to see what else Mark tells Kelsey. The buzz around the Golden Bachelor has been nothing short of electric, and one name that's caught everyone's attention is Joan Vassos. Joan, with her poised grace, radiant smile, and a heart full of stories, has quickly become one of the fan favorites. But it's not just the viewers who've been charmed by her elegance. One of the suitors has now made a bold confession that's sending shockwaves through the mansion. He's falling for Joan. The suitor in question, Ted Harrington, a retired pilot with salt and pepper hair, and the quiet confidence of someone who's navigated life's turbulences, has been catching glimpses of Joan from across the room ever since they first met. Each encounter between them, whether in the bustling group settings or those quiet stolen moments on the terrace, has felt like a dance, one where neither wants to miss a step, but neither is rushing ahead too fast. Their first real moment together had happened during a group date where the cast was invited to a formal ballroom event. Joan, in a shimmering navy gown that accentuated her graceful frame, was mingling with the other women when Ted approached. They shared a brief, yet intimate dance, twirling under the chandelier-lit room. Joan had laughed, a sweet, genuine sound that cut through the room's chatter. That laugh had stayed with Ted long after the dance ended, long after the night drew to a close. In the confessionals that followed, Ted's words were filled with admiration. "There's just something about Joan," he had admitted, a glint of emotion in his eye. "She's got this calmness, this warmth, that just makes you want to be near her. I don't know how else to describe it." She's the kind of woman who makes the world around her feel a little more beautiful. But even with that fond admission, Ted hadn't fully opened his heart to anyone. Until now. As the show progressed, viewers saw sparks between Ted and Joan during various dates. Whether it was their shared love for hiking or their quiet conversations about family, the connection was undeniable. Ted's past relationships, marked by adventure and excitement, had often lacked the depth and sincerity he was now experiencing with Joan. She was someone he could talk to, someone who understood his love for both the wild and the calm parts of life. The turning point came during a one-on-one date, where Joan and Ted were whisked away to a vineyard on the outskirts of Napa Valley. With rows of sun-kissed vines stretching out as far as the eye could see, the couple walked hand in hand, sharing stories of their lives. Joan spoke of her late husband, the love they had shared, and the strength it took to carry on after his passing. Ted, in turn, opened up about his years of travel and the love he had once had, but how it never felt complete. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the vineyard, Ted stopped walking, gently pulling Joan to a halt beside him. He turned to face her, his expression serious yet tender. For a moment, the world around them seemed to fall silent, leaving just the two of them in their bubble of golden light. "Joan," Ted began, his voice soft but resolute, "I need to tell you something." Joan looked up at him, her warm eyes full of curiosity. "I came here not knowing what to expect," he continued. "I thought maybe I'd meet some nice women, maybe find a connection, but I didn't expect to find you." Joan's breath hitched slightly, but she didn't look away. "You have this way of making everything feel right," Ted said, his hand reaching up to gently brush a strand of hair from her face. "You're strong, but you're kind. You're wise, but you're not jaded. I've traveled the world, Joan, and I've met so many people, but none of them have made me feel the way you do." Joan's lips parted slightly, her heart pounding in her chest. "I'm falling for you," Ted admitted, the words tumbling out like a confession he had held onto for too long. "I didn't think I'd feel this way again, but here I am. I'm falling for you, Joan." For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Joan stared up at him, her eyes glistening with the weight of his words. The vulnerability, the honesty, it was all there, laid bare in front of her. Ted watched her closely, waiting for a response, his heart in his throat. But Joan, ever the composed and thoughtful woman, simply smiled, a small, gentle smile that spoke volumes. She took a step closer to him, her hand reaching up to rest against his cheek. "Ted," she whispered, her voice steady, "I didn't expect this either. But I feel it too. There's something between us, something real." The words hung in the air between them, a shared truth that neither had fully realized until that very moment. As they stood there, the sun dipping below the horizon and casting them in twilight, it was clear that this wasn't just another fleeting connection in the whirlwind of reality TV. This was something more, something deeper. The kind of connection that lasts, even when the cameras stop rolling. Back at the mansion, rumors were already swirling. The other women had noticed the growing bond between Joan and Ted, and whispers of their vineyard date spread quickly. Some were supportive, thrilled that Joan might have found love again, while others, feeling the competitive nature of the show, weren't as thrilled. But regardless of what anyone else thought, the connection between Joan and Ted was undeniable. As Joan and Ted returned to the mansion later that evening, hand in hand, there was a new glow about them. They weren't just two contestants on The Golden Bachelor anymore. They were two people who had found something real amidst the chaos of the show. And for Ted, that truth had become undeniable. He was falling for Joan, and he wasn't afraid to let the world know.